Hi, welcome back. This is lesson number 6, and today we're going to talk about things that you can do to make little easy pieces sound more professional. So hopefully you worked with the chord progressions that we did in lessons number 5. So hopefully you're going to enjoy these little tricks that I've learned over the years, that just little things that you can do to make your music sound more interesting. Okay, this is week 6, and we're going to go to page 10 of the Playing Music with No Music, Playing by Ear book. And I call this lesson Hamburger Helper. I use Bisquick and Hamburger Helper, and when I was young and learning how to cook, Hamburger Helper was kind of a really good friend of mine. So what it means is just things that you can add to just the basic song to embellish it, to make it more interesting to listen to. It's like adding accessories to your outfit, or just adding spices to food. So I have 5 hints for you, because I don't want to go overboard and give you too much, but there's 5 things that you can do to make your music more interesting. And if you're an ear player, if you just make a little chart like this and put it up on the keyboard, you will see that it'll remind you that you know how to do these. Sometimes you forget what you can put into a song. So this is kind of like a recipe for all of the extra things that you can add. Number 1 is grace notes. A grace note is a half step below the note that you want to play. So if the melody is an E, you'll play the black note right below it. I call them a ta-da. Okay, so a grace note, if you're playing Jingle Bells, okay, and you can put them anywhere, but just like food and clothes, you don't want to over accessorize or over spice or add too much garlic or whatever to a recipe. So you want to just be kind of sparing with them, but a grace note can totally change how your song sounds. So if you're playing Amazing Grace, and it can be a fast grace note, or it can be a slow grace note. It's totally up to you and what kind of mood you're in. The second one is a trill. I call this giving yourself a trill. So a trill is one whole step above the note that you want to play. I call it a ta-da-da-da-da. So you could think of a ta-da as a grace note and a ta-da-da-da-da. All right, so Jingle Bells. See? So sometimes it sounds good, sometimes it doesn't. But just whenever you kind of get the feeling of giving yourself the trill, it's one whole step. You can make them long, you can make them short, depending on what you feel like. Number 3 is called an over and under. It's kind of a combination of between grace note and trill. It's a little bit of both. Up and under. So if you're going to play a G note, you go up a whole step and down a half. All right, that's called an over and an under. Number 4 is glissando. Now there's 4 kinds of glissandos. Number 1 is a thumb glissando. A thumb glissando is when you're going down the keyboard. Now if you have just a portable keyboard, this is going to be a little easier on your hands than on a piano. So what you want to do is, if the melody, if you want to go down this way, you're going to put your hand up and you're going to use the inside of your thumb, and you're just going to go and go down with the inside of your thumb. If you're going up, you're going to do what's called a finger glissando. You're going to go, you can either use one finger, or you can use all your fingers and go up like that. So down the keyboard is a thumb, and up the keyboard is a finger glissando. Palm glissando is if you're going from one chord to another chord. So if you're ending the song on a C chord, just slide your hand into the keyboard, put your palm down, and just slide up. Or you can just trail down with one finger and end up on a chord. And again, this is much more difficult and hard on your hands on an acoustic piano than it is on a digital piano or a keyboard. The other glissando is a chromatic glissando. Chromatic means you're going to play every note. So if I'm going, and you want to do this between two notes that are kind of a short distance apart. So if I'm going from a C to an E in a song, I'm just going to play, instead of going the short way, I'm going to take the long way. Alright, now you don't want to do this on notes that are generally not more than a fourth or a fifth apart, because unless you have a lot of time. But a chromatic glissando, you want to hit every note in between the notes that are in the melody. So jingle bells would... Now, there's my next point. Chromatic glissandos, and sometimes you'll end on the wrong note. So that's point number 5. If you hit the wrong note and fix it, sometimes it sounds better than if you hit the right note in the first place. So when I did that, I was supposed to end on G, but I overshot it and went to A. So I'll just do a little trill, and I end up back on the note that's right. Now remember, at the very beginning in lesson 1 or 2, we talked about you're never more than one note away from the right note. Generally, if you're jumping and you have a big space, you're probably going to be one note, one to the left or one to the right, to correct your mistake. So sometimes hitting the wrong notes is not a bad thing, so don't panic. When you're an ear player, fix it. And you don't have to sound professional, you're just doing what's fun. The key is you don't want to go, oh, I really messed up, I have to start over. So you just have to get confident enough and know that the mistakes aren't always a bad thing. So that's called hit the wrong note and fix it. So sometimes in classes we try to hit the wrong notes on purpose, and then you'll probably hit all the right notes anyway. All right, my last hint is kind of cool, because I've always kind of admired people who could play jazz and do all the riffs up and down the keyboard. And a lot of people email me and ask me, how do you do that? Well, you have to learn a lot of different scales and a lot of different patterns, but I have a little cheaty quick way to teach you how to do that. Here's the 3 chords that we've learned to play by ear: C, F, and G. So what I want you to do first is to play those 3 sets of chords, and these are called arpeggios. C, E, G, C, E, G, C, E, G, C. Now you can do them this way. Okay, and then F, and then G. Okay, that's an arpeggio. Now, a triad is those 3 notes just played all together. G. Okay? So now that, because you've spent the last few weeks learning how to spell those chords and to play them in the root position, this is going to be kind of fun for you. all you're going to do is take the 3 notes in that chord and you're going to put a grace note under each one of them. So under the C is going to go a B. Okay, there's no black note there, so, and under the E, and under the G. Okay, so, okay, and just do 1 octave to start. Now going down, you're still going to go under the note. So that's why I really emphasize you need to know how to spell them. So it's C, G, E, C. Alright, so now watch. If I go up and back, alright, now let's try and just change the timing a little bit. Okay, all of a sudden you start to form this little attitude. So you can go, a professional jazz musician is going to go, yeah, right. But if you've never done anything like this before, that is so much fun. So this week I want you to try the C, the F, which is F-A-C. Okay, now that one's a little tougher because there's no black note there and there's no black note under the C. Okay, the G is pretty simple. It's all black note, white note, black note. Alright, that's your assignment this week. I want you to just try playing some arpeggios. Alright, block them. Or do a little. And all the time you're doing it, I want you to say to yourself, C chord, C, E, G, and then backwards, G, E, C, C, E, G, G, E, C, F, A, C, C, F, A, G, B, D, D, B, G. Okay? And I think by the time we're done with this series, you're going to find that it's going to be so much fun if you just add these little embellishments here and there in your easy play songs. And even if you're using an easy play book, knowing to put these 5 hints in will totally change your attitude. So I have this saying, you get a little attitude without much aptitude, and that's kind of where we're going. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Little tricks of the trade that I've learned over the years, really simple things that you can do, just little things that you can do to make your music more interesting. It's like wearing a sweater and putting on a pretty piece of jewelry. So take your Christmas pieces and all the other ones that you've learned so far by ear and just add a couple of these little touches, and I think you'll be really surprised. So the lesson today was on page 10 of the Playing Music with No Music book that I have. If you're wanting to go more into the chords, then you probably should look at our catalog at www.sacramentomusicgroup.com or musicinNewcastle.com and click on the catalogs, the music books. So I recommend the emergency chord book if you're going to continue on with what we've started with this ear thing. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.